Hello, everybody. I think I'm live here again on the United Spotlight, and I'm just going to talk about the week in progress and what things have been going on and what I think about United over the last week and where things are going, doing, and just, after such a terrible. I mean, the way everyone's going on, it's a bit like Arsenal from yesterday. The way everyone's talking like the lost Arsenal went out to do a job that did a job. I mean, we didn't go out to do a job. We went out and were pathetic. There's a big difference. I didn't actually see the Brentford games, bank holiday weekend here in the UK, England. So I was out, but I've seen plenty of backlash, plenty of videos from other content creators, other channels. I watch a few, so it's not all from one big one that we all know. Even though I do watch them, I do watch two or three others as well to get a bit of a rounded view on what everyone's opinions are on these kind of things. And my own opinion is, it seems like the honest truth now, forget the game, right? We all know it was terrible. Everyone's gone on about it. It's a couple of days ago now. My couple of points I'll take away from this game is this is exactly what I expected. Too many people are out there thinking that the Liverpool game was a turning point. How many turning points have we had this season? Every other week's a turning point. It never happens. I think we was over excited about beating Liverpool in the FA Cup. I think we were overhyping the performance. I don't think it was that good. The facts are, it was a draw in 90 minutes. We didn't win in 90 minutes. We found something in extra time and ended up beating them, which, look, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was a brilliant thing, and we actually found something in that extra 30 minutes to go on and beat Liverpool. But in the 90 minutes of that Liverpool game, we were dreadful in that second half for very long periods of time. Liverpool were sloppy, off the pace, and were poor. And I know I don't want to make excuses for us beating Liverpool and make it sound like I'm still being negative even when we've beaten Liverpool, because I'm not, because it was still a great game and a brilliant game to watch. But when you look at it constructively, over the 90 minutes, we still were not good. We lost to Fulham. You know, we just so, and I think on the thumbnail I put inconsistency, and inconsistency is a huge issue with this team. Whether it's the manager, the players, I personally believe it's a combination of both. You can't solely blame Eric Ten Hag. So we'll get into the Eric Ten Hag in, out, and consistency thing together. I think I've said on my previous videos, I cannot decide whether I want Eric Ten Hag in or out. The people who have been put out there as replacements, I don't really have any confidence in. I think somebody like De Zerbi has potential to come into United under a new structure and start from scratch and do well. Southgate, I'm not even talking about. It's an absolute joke. Who else is the Potter? I actually like Potter. I thought he did a really good job at Brighton. Before De Zerbi, everyone was talking about Potter like they talk about De Zerbi. You know, people have very short minds on these kinds of things. Potter was De Zerbi a few years ago, and look where he's ended up now. The same thing had happened to De Zerbi. I think the job's too big for him, and that is why it's tough to sack Ten Hag. And I won't sack him now anyway. I won't sack him in the season. No, it'd have to be an agreement in the summer. There's no point getting rid of him now, is there? We're not getting in the Champions League. We're 8 points off fifth. Never mind how many points off fourth. FA Cup, one. I mean, I think we'll struggle against Coventry. I think we probably will beat them, but I think we'll struggle. And then the City game in the final is one of them one-off games where we'll either turn up and potentially win, or City will turn up and just dismantle us. That's the way it's going to go, in it. You're never going to go into that final and think, oh yeah, we're in with a chance here. It's going to be either us a luck win or a demolishing. But anyway, I'm getting off topic again, aren't I? Because I only do these once a week now, and I sometimes don't write any notes, so that's my own problem. Yeah, the Eric Ten Hag in out situation. I've been watching some channels recently, some debates. Some people super Ten Hag positive, saying they see something in Ten Hag's tactics. They see that he wants to play a super high pressing football. They see where he's going and he needs the time to get the players in and really to nail down a whole squad of people or players that are going to do this for him. And I get the point to some extent, and I think I've probably said it on other videos, that I kind of get it and the style of play thing. You can see what he's trying to do. He wants to play high up in the defence. He wants us to have a super high press and win the ball back. Liverpool-esque, I guess. It sort of is like that. I don't know, every super high press, get that ball back in their half. The problem is we just don't do it. And then this is where it comes in, are the players to blame? Are the players just not working hard enough? Not fit enough? Or are they not coached well enough to do it? And I think it is a bit of everything. Somebody on another channel, I'll mention, he's called Kenny on the United View. You'll probably know him if you watch any of these channels because, I mean, he's on there. He's an old guy. I think he's in his 60s. He made a point today, which I think was a very good point about Eric Ten Hag and his substitutions and how we say Eric Ten Hag's very stubborn. He don't like to change things in game. His in-game management's poor, and a lot of people over the course of this season have given him the excuse of his bench is crap. We've got no bench. He's got at the weekend he had Casemiro, Martinez, maybe not fully fit, but he shouldn't be on the bench if he's not fit, so he should have been perfectly ready to start. He was atrocious when he come on. They had, who else? Ahmad on the bench, Mount on the bench. And we're playing, I've seen extended highlights, watched plenty of the game. I haven't seen it all, but from what I've seen, maybe the first 10, 15 minutes as per usual were okay. Then after that, we are absolutely atrocious. And I've seen clips of Bruno Fernandes running beyond Rasmus Højlund to press the keeper 3 yards out from his goal, and the keeper just passes it round him. And another pass goes beyond Rasmus, where Bruno should be, cuts the whole midfield out. And I don't want to make this another Bruno Fernandes rant video, but the guy is done. He is finished. I'm going to say it again. Everyone says he works hard. Yes, he does. He runs his arse off. We all know that. Last season, McTominay runs his arse off. The fan base destroys him for being crap. And again, I'll say it. McTominay should be sold. I'm not a McTominay fan, but I'm being fair. Who has contributed more to Man United this season? Bruno Fernandes or Scott McTominay? Tell me in the comments. Because for me, it's McTominay. Because on the pitch, in that midfield, they're both bypassed. They both cannot keep the ball. They're both out of position all the time. And McTominay's turned up with however many goals he scored and got us how many more points. So you've got to say McTominay's had a better season. I mean, I don't understand how you can argue that it's not the case. I think Bruno has been absolutely atrocious. And the reason why I go on about Bruno so much is because I don't think he's a problem at the club. I think his attitude is right. Yes, he's petulant, but who really cares if he's petulant, if he's your player and he's performing and he's getting the rest of the team to perform? The problem is he's being petulant like a school kid, not petulant like a captain. Roy Keane was petulant, but it was for the benefit of the team, not throwing a hissy fit at every man and his dog, because he's kicked the ball over the bar 6 times in the last 10 minutes. That is why I have a problem with Bruno. He's 29. He's been here 5 or 6 years now. We've achieved basically nothing with him as our lead creator. I just don't think he's a number 10. He's not. And everyone says, oh, he's so creative. He's this, that. He isn't. How, if you want to be a Ten Hag inner and to defend Ten Hag for a minute, how can Ten Hag implement this system with Bruno Fernandes playing and Marcus Rashford playing and even Garnacho to some extent? Because those 3 players are pivotal to still staying up the pitch. And Bruno, every time he gets the ball, he's like it's a kid's party and he's playing frigging past the parcel. He does not want the ball. It's gone. Oh, I've got the ball. Oh my God, it's going to burn my foot. Get rid of it. Boots it over the bar or just up one of the frigging lines to whoever's playing on the wing that particular game. His basic passing is some of the worst passing I have seen in top-level professional football. Yes, he might be able to smack a 30-yard, a 40-yarder every now and again, but just watch him for a full 90 minutes on his basics, his first touch, his little passes there and back, there and back, there and back. It doesn't happen with Bruno. How are we supposed to stay up the pitch with a creative player who cannot keep the ball? He's just pure hot potato mode. Then you've got 2 wingers in Rashford and Garnacho, and I think they're similar players at different stages of their career. Rashford is now in his mid-20s. He should be at his peak. He is gone. I mean, I know I moan about Bruno a lot, but if I was selling one player this summer and we could only sell one, it would be Rashford. And I can't even be bothered to talk about it because there's absolutely no way Man United and Ineos sell Rashford. It's just not happening. I think even if PSG walked through the door tomorrow and offered 150 million, they still won't sell him. It's not even worth talking about. The only way he goes is if when he went out in Belfast and had his other things, the other few weeks, months ago, that Ten Hag took the same stance he took on Sancho and basically told him, I'm not having that, you're not playing anymore. And he's not done it, has he? So yeah, I mean, then Garnacho, just touch on Garnacho, and I'm not having a go at Garnacho. I think it's fine to play one of them type of players. Someone who's trying to run at people, beat someone, can create something out of nothing. You can't play 3 of them. And Bruno, Rashford and Garnacho are all the same. The 2 inconsistent, the 2 erratic, and the 2 poor in possession. For me, you pick one of them and you play 2 others. I personally, at this moment in time, with Mason Mount being fit, and I know everyone will say, oh, he scored at the weekend, you're just getting on the bandwagon. If you go back over this channel, if you read through, if I put my WhatsApp messages up with my mates, you will see that for a very, very long time, I've said that Mason Mount should be starting over Bruno. And people will kick off about it and go mad. And Mount probably won't do these 30-yard worldy passes, but what he will do is he will retain the ball. He will pass 5 yards and get it back. He will pass into Rasmus and run beyond him and get it back. He'll pass 5 yards out to the wing for a cross. And we will stay up the pitch. Because I don't think what people don't realise is, a lot of people don't play football and just watch it. I've played football since I was a kid as a centre-back. And one thing I know that as a centre-back, if all your midfield and forwards disappear up front and the ball comes back at you, you're in trouble. Because they've bypassed your entire team. And that, it reminds me of playing on a Sunday morning the way Man United play. It's like we've just gone out and gone, like, everyone's been given a position. Nobody's been given any defensive responsibility at all. And they'll all sprint forward and they don't want to come back. That is the only tactic I see. To me, and to some extent, if the players are told that that's what they need to do, be that high, because what I'm trying to say is, if you are an Eric Ten Hag inner and you see this as a style, that we go gung ho forward and then we need to win the ball back high or retain possession high, that is what we have to do. There's no other, you cannot not do it. Because the one time you don't do it, you're in huge, huge trouble. And it's why you see Liverpool and City not concede goals, because they stay high up the pitch and they recycle the ball over and over and over and over again. It's to some points when it's boring to watch, but they just do not give the ball away. As soon as you give the ball away on their 18-yard box or around the D and they break on you and you've got everybody forward, you're in massive trouble. And that happens to us all the time because our front four cannot retain the ball. The first thing I would change if I was Eric Ten Hag and I was stubborn to this formation would be players that can retain the ball up the pitch. And I would probably play Ahmad, Garnacho as the flair player, and I would play Mount and Højlund. And I would play Maino and Casemiro behind him. And just allow Mainu to like wander into the front if we're retaining the ball. But if we're not retaining the ball, he sits back off with Casemiro. It's simple. The problem I have with Ten Hag is he'll do something like that versus like if you look at the Liverpool and City games, they put what does it say about Bruno? And I said it in my last video. When we're playing the big games versus Liverpool and City, he don't play him in centre mid. He plays him on the right. So he does not trust Bruno Fernandes to be a midfielder in a big game. So why is he trusted to be one in the so-called lesser games? Answer me that question. That's a massive thing that nobody talks about. But why is it acceptable for Bruno Fernandes to play in midfield versus the so-called lesser teams, but he's not good enough to do it versus the top teams? And even take this back to when we played Barcelona in the Europa League. And people think I'm crazy for saying this. And I've heard it on another channel as well. Somebody mentioned it, and they're right. Probably our biggest game we had that year, that Barcelona away game. Who played number 10? Put it in the comments. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Guess it. Who played number 10 in the Barcelona game? Weghorst. What? Bruno Fernandes, the greatest creator in the Premier League. One of the world's best number 10s. Weghorst versus Barcelona at 10. Let it sink in. Liverpool in the cup, he's on the right. Man City, he's on the right. Why is he not playing in his position in the big games? Because he cannot be trusted to be in midfield when he's needed to be. I think I've already mentioned it. Points of clips, I've seen loads of them in that Brentford game from the weekend where he's beyond Rasmus Højlund pressing the keeper. Wide open in midfield because he's out of position. You know, I don't want to make it a frigging Fernandes chat again. But I really, really, honestly do believe if Bruno Fernandes was not in that team, we would be a better team. And I don't mean that the person replacing him is a better flair player than Bruno. Would be able to create a worldy moment, a moment of brilliance better than Bruno. But what they would do is provide structure from the midfield to the front three and defensive capability in blocking that first line of passing out from the back from opposition, which currently he's that high up the pitch, he may as well not be on it. I mean, I don't know what else to say really about the Eric Ten Hag in out thing. To some extent, I do agree that he's trying this. But what I would say is it doesn't work, does it? Is he going to live by his sword, die by his sword, and say, look, I went there, I tried to play that high press football, the players weren't up to it, eventually it got me the sack? If he does that, and that's fair enough. But if he wants to keep this job, would he not be better just going back to a formation that he plays against Liverpool and City, where it is slightly more defensive, slightly more counter-attacking? I don't understand why we go. Everyone raves about, oh yeah, we did all this tactical stuff versus Liverpool and City, and we sat back in and we got a result, and this, that, and the other. Then the next game, it's acceptable to just go and play six up front and lose. Would you rather just not play the mid block in every game and be solid and win every game? Until we have the profile of player, I personally think United, and the people think I'm ridiculous again, and Anthony Gordon would have been brilliant for us. Somebody who will run their heart out, has some talent, and he has grit, and he will work his arse off from front to back for 90 minutes. People laughed at Newcastle for buying Anthony Gordon for 40 million. I actually think he's been one of the best signings of the year. He's been absolute, and I know Newcastle are where they are, but he's the epitome of a professional footballer. And yeah, people might say he's not good enough for Man United, but you're telling me that Rashford would do a better job than him on the left? No, absolutely not. I would take Anthony Gordon. I'd swap him for Rashford tomorrow. I'd drive Rashford to Newcastle and bring Gordon back. And people think I'm frigging stupid again, ridiculous. But tell me one reason you keep Rashford over Gordon. Why? Because he scored a few good goals last year. What about the other 6, 7 seasons prior to that where he's been crap? What, because one of them wants to run and work hard for the team and the other one sulks around doing interviews and he's all his bloody expensive clobber and trying to plead like he's poverty stricken and he loves the club? But just watch him on the pitch. Does he look like he loves the club? No, he doesn't. And I know I've been ranting again here for 20 odd minutes. So the next couple of games, what we got? Chelsea on Thursday. We can beat Chelsea. Of course we can. They are as bad, if not worse than us. But I think we're very similar. We can be good one game, absolutely diabolical the next, and Chelsea are very similar. I could see it being a draw. We're away. I could see us winning. I could see us losing. I don't even know what to think in that Chelsea game. Both the teams are too unpredictable to say what's going to happen in that game. One thing I absolutely 1000% will be doing for that game is dropping Bruno and Rashford for Mount and Ahmad. And I'd be bringing Casemiro back into midfield with Mainu. And I would be questioning Martinez's fitness after the performance on Saturday. And yes, I know he was thrown into it a bit, but he got absolutely turned inside out by Tony. And that's another thing. People don't want Ivan Toney at Man United. You are not getting a better forward than him for 60 million quid. You're just not. I don't care who you're talking about in Europe. These cheap European strikers from Germany, this, that, and the other, let them come and let them fail, is all I'll say. Would you rather spend 60 million quid on someone who's proven in the Premier League, goal scorer, for a lower the 16th Brentford, and look at him. He was unbelievable at the weekend. Hold up, bullying people. Made Martinez look like a baby when he come on. And you saying you don't want him because he might push Højlund out the team. And yes, Højlund's come on a lot over the last few months, scored a few goals. But you're all forgetting the lad's 20. He scored 9 goals at Atalanta. It took him 16 Premier League games to score a goal. He needs somebody like Tony or someone at the club, one, to help him build his career, and two, to take some of the pressure off him. Højlund should not be starting week in, week out for Man United. And I like Højlund. I think he's got the attributes to be something very good for us, but he should be a bit part player. He should be coming on for 20, 30 minutes at the end of games. He should be starting cup games and playing the odd game here and there. He should not be starting 90 minutes week in, week out up front for Man United after half a season at Atalanta. I don't care what anyone says. It should not be happening. It's the same with Mainu. Look at the way City in that treated Phil Foden. Everyone was absolutely banging on about how mint Foden is, and Pep just didn't play him. Oh, Foden's not playing again. Foden's not playing again. And look at him now. The problem is, we'll carry on playing as we are, this poorly, with Mainu and Højlund in the team, and they will be the new scapegoats. Because when the others leave, they'll be the ones that are left over. They'll be the ones that are told they're not good enough. They have not come on. They've not progressed. Same with Garnacho. If they do stay at a standard that is higher than the rest of the squad, they'll leave. There's already talk about Garnacho and Real Madrid. Paper talk, whatever it is. There's always some truth behind a rumour. Messi, from his home country, probably his idol, playing at Barcelona. Of course, he probably wants to go play in Spain. Same as Ronaldo wanted to. Probably another one of his idols. He wants to follow their careers, probably. The only way we retain someone like Garnacho is if he becomes a world's best player and we are a top side. In 5 years' time, if we're still 6th and Garnacho is classed as one of the world's best players, is he still at Man United? The answer's no. So we have to do something. And personally, if I was Ineos, what would I do? And the truth, I actually think I would reset from the summer. And I wouldn't blame it on the manager or the players. I would do it as a combination. I think Ten Hag potentially does have what it takes with a structure to make us a competitive side. But what we've seen for the last 2 years, also, I have huge doubts. So we've just got that Wilcox in from Southampton just before I come on as technical director or something. We're getting Barada as CEO, Ashworth, and then you've got Brailsford and all that lot. Give that lot the time to work with a brand new manager with the vision of the future. And he's probably been really harsh on Ten Hag in some ways because he has had a very difficult job. As much as I moan about it, he's had a lot to deal with. But I just think right now, well, not right now, but the summer is the time to change the manager. Who, personally, I think you'd have to go for Nagelsmann or Tuchel, wouldn't you? If Tuchel does end up leaving Bayern. And people say he failed at Bayern, he failed at Chelsea. Well, he did win a Champions League at Chelsea. He has won league titles at Bayern. And yes, it's very easy to do that. But he has won things. That is a huge... People, I think, underestimate. He has won the Champions League. He's won leagues in other countries. What we're gonna if we take a De Zerbi, what's he doing? He's working under a structure at Brighton where they look decent, but Brighton are hit and miss. One week they're amazing, the next week they get battered 5-0. It's no different what we are now. Nagelsmann, again, young up and coming manager, failed at Bayern again. German national coach, I think, is he now? Wanting to know some about his future. He's another one that I think if you want a manager that's probably going to win things, depending on how he'd work under the structure, you'd probably have to go for Tuchel. If you want to take another bit of a risk on a younger, progressive manager, you'd go for Nagelsmann. But they're the only two that are out there, unless like Ancelotti or someone comes knocking on the door. Zidane's not coming, and I don't think Zidane would do well. I think Zidane's another Pep. He'll go to places where there's loads of money and they're already winning, and he'll just keep filling his trophy cabinet. It'd be it would never happen. I probably wouldn't want to see it, but it'd be very, very, very interesting to see Pep Guardiola at Man United for 3 years. To see where we would be with him in charge of this team and what we would play like in comparison to what we are now. Because I think it would be massive. I think even if we didn't win things, that we would play and we'd have something we haven't had for a long time, which will be extremely good possession-based football. But anyway, yeah, I've been going on for 31 minutes. That's my breakdown. I'm not getting into transfers and stuff. There's no point. It's not close enough to the transfer window. But yeah, Eric Ten Hag, in or out? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you really think as well. Get some meaty comments in there if you watch it, read it, whatever you're doing. I'm 50-50. But like I say, if I was Ineos right at this moment in time, I probably 70-30% would sack Ten Hag. But if I'm sacking Ten Hag, I am resetting that playing squad from the top. And that means at least one of Bruno and Rashford is sold to set a statement and a new standard at the club. Luke Shaw is gone, or at the very least, we find a new left back because I'm sick to death of him being injured all the time. Said it before, say it again. If you're going to moan about Martial, you've got to moan about him. Malassia's gone missing. He never looked like he was anything special anyway. Cut your losses with him. We need a left back. Yeah, I think because everyone will say sell McTominay, sell Maguire, sell Martial. Those players will be sold anyway. This year, next year, they're not good enough. They will go. You have to reset from the top, which is Bruno, Rashford, and those types of players. And when the rest of the squad sees that the club is ruthless enough to cut them, they know they can be cut and the levels go up. And the players we bring in will be hungry and as good, if not better, than them two. So the levels rise, and you're also cutting out two players that have been at the club for years and years and years and basically won next to nothing. That is my opinion on it. Fresh start, manager out, and 2 or 3 key players out. Replaced by younger, hungry, hard-working players. Even if they are not the top name player that we've ever seen in the world. I want him, he's 150. I'd rather spend 30 million quid on a Park Ji-sung than 200 million quid on Mbappe. That's what I'm trying to say. And on that note, like the video, like everything else. Keep supporting United, and I'll see you on the next breakdown next week, hopefully, after the Chelsea and Liverpool games, because I'm sure I'll have something to talk about next week, won't I? We're going to get smashed back.